Corinne, Nicolas, due to the pandemic, do you expect a trend towards relocalization of parts of global supply chains, and why? And what should international companies do now?
Okay, Mark. Before entering into the change in the geography of supply chain, I think what we can see, the first consequence of the pandemic on the process of supply chain was much more crisis management committee meetings, short-term decisions versus mid to long-term decisions, and much more contingency plans. That means that if a supply is missing, if I cannot tomorrow have here in Brazil or in Latin America, a supply from China, where can I purchase? Who can be my supplier? So I think this was the big trend of the COVID-19.
So to build on what Nicolas just mentioned, I think prior to COVID-19, we were not really fully aware of our vulnerability when it comes to, the impact of having a bottleneck with the largest factory of the world, like China. So fortunately for us, when it comes to supply chain, there's a lot of new technologies, especially supply chain technologies that are emerging. And this is going to bring the solution when it comes to visibility across end-to-end supply chain, to be able for us to have better planning, agility, resilience, so that we're not, to put it simply, have all our eggs in one basket. So I guess this is why our most recent projects are all about finding supply chain professionals who will help organizations redesign their blueprint. One of the things that have emerged also is the digital supply network, DSNs, where this enables businesses to see not only their end-to-end visibility, but also their suppliers and the supplier of their suppliers, which ends up requiring more collaboration, responsiveness, and just transparency, because then you can better plan if you know where you can get your product and where you cannot. And one of the things that also comes up, it's not only about digital improvement. You do have to have a certain level of relationships, especially if your supplier, you're not the only client of your suppliers. And I think this is going to be the big question, whether, digital improvement or relocalization is going to be enough. I think not enough. I mean, it's a big piece of a puzzle we have to reconstruct, which also means relationship building with your suppliers and their suppliers beyond the digital transparency.
I fully agree with you, Corinne, and we have here in Latin America the same trend. I mean, as a consequence of this contingency plan that I was mentioning earlier, beginning of our conversation, there is this trend to understand who here locally can supply the goods that were last year supplied by a Chinese producer, a Chinese supplier, for instance. So there is a redesign of the economical map and a development of local supplier. This is a logical consequence of the contingency plans. So that is an opportunity for local business development, actually, on second or third tier companies.